Okay. Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm Col VD Singh, continuing with the series on music. There has been a break in between for certain unavoidable reasons, but now we have resumed it. And today I am here in front of you to basically discuss about my own exploration, about Tibetan jazz fusion music with a few interesting details about Tibetan music. Tibetan music has been there for ages. It's not a new thing. And in this, a brief background which I would like to give for sake of general awareness about the Tibetan music as such, and followed by my own experiments with Tibetan music by mixing jazz music into Tibetan music. I'm sure you'll find this session interesting. So first of all, I would like to show a short video on how traditional music, the Tibetan music, is when you hear Tibetan music, how do you know that it's Tibetan music? So it's a very interesting video which I found on the net.
Hello everyone, this is Jamyang. Good morning to everyone, and today I'm going to show you how beautiful Tibetan musics are. And we also have invited the best musicer in all over Tibet. But first I'm going to introduce you how those instruments we are using in Tibetan music. So first is the damnyan, which we call 6-string guitars. And second, here we can see dulcimer. Actually, it's a Tibetan dulcimer, which gives them perfect sounds. Beautiful, yeah? And then here we can see the bells. And in Tibetan, we call it eka. And finally, we have the best flute maker. And in Tibetan, we call it lingpu. And today, with those special instruments, with a special group here, and let's enjoy the banquets of Tibetan traditional music. So let's begin this music. Check it some.
I'm sure you enjoyed this piece of music. It's so pleasing to your ears. Typical instruments like an instrument which looks like guitar, which is known as dranian, and their flute, and something looks like santur, which is actually a dulcimer, and of course various types of percussion instruments. So, music is one major aspect of country's identity. Basically, it also tells you about its historical background and number of things. The culture is reflected of a particular country by its music. And particularly, why I have chosen this topic, because I have been to Ladakh on posting. I served there from 2015 to 17. And this I have shared with all of you, in my past videos also, my musical journey while I served in Ladakh. And subsequently, I started visiting Ladakh every year to participate in Ladakh jazz festival and rock festival and things like that as a musician. And so this is how my musical tours have happened. And always had a small interest in local pop culture also, because there are locals over there, especially in Leh, these small Ladakhi bands. They played so beautifully, comparing the most listened to tracks and the most revered local bands and the artists. Recently, I was there in the month of April and of course first week of May, and I was part of organizing committee of LIMF, that is Ladakh International Music Festival, in which we had invited groups of international reputation, and we also promoted certain local bands over there. These bands are primarily into Tibetan music. So it's quite easy nowadays to differentiate the chart music from the traditional vibes. The spectrum is of course diverse, and the language is the obvious main characteristics that defines its origin. But the use of different instruments and the way they are played are what is most enjoyable about music around the world. Tibetan music needs to be explored in your lifetime. It's equally empowering as it is sinister. And basically, it touches your soul. That is the beauty of Tibetan music. And there's something very unique about it. Because whenever you are listening to a Tibetan music being played somewhere, like in Ladakh, small villages, there were 5, 6 young boys and girls. They play music, and of course, the vocals are in a particular fashion. Like one is that we sing, okay. The other one is that they train their throats, which sounds kind of a guttural sound. I'll just give you an example of that. I practice actually. This is known as throat singing or tuvan singing. I'll try and do it because it actually requires a lot of practice, and then it comes out. I've done my recordings in throat singing. It sounds something like this. This is how it sounds, growling, and the sound you basically control, your vocal cords, and in a way that this sharp kind of sound comes out in low frequency. Very, very typical, and not everyone can do it just randomly. One has to practice a lot. As far as Tibetan pop music is concerned, Tibet abides to current Asian pop culture very well, and in no way is it's not a bad thing just because it sounds slightly differently, and they're well represented by various local bands, and of course there are international singers like Shering Gyurme, who has become one of the faces of modern sounds in Tibet. You can always log on to YouTube to listen to Shering Gyurme. Songs celebrating Tibet's tradition and past movements are the commonplace for Shering, and is well known and publicized for his fantastic strong vocals. The stress is on strong vocals, something which Tibetan believes is because of its high altitude. Some Tibetan singers have even made a name for themselves in China and Japan, including Alandowa Dolma and Gao Yuan Hong. Their voices are as powerful as strings and fit the confines of Asian pop music extremely comfortably. However, there is plenty to learn from more traditional Tibetan music. So let's look at some of the key components of this. So we have basically, 5 types of different, sections. Or you can say you can categorize Tibetan music into 5 different types. So the first one is Sino-Mongolian music. So the first is something which resembles an opera. Songs are very pleasant and jovial, usually resounding an old, Buddhist kind of a thing. And you'll find that flutes and lutes combined with some percussion beats to create a soft aroma of music, which is thought to resemble a constant communication link between the divine world, one that only perfect things are able to compose. And it is officially named Sino-Mongolian music, and it is heard in streets during the festival and parties. And it is not only confined within the geographical boundaries of Tibet, but it has become an international kind of a scene. This is a pictorial display. They dress up in their traditional dresses and playing a mix of stringed instruments like dranien, and sometimes they also make use of traditional guitar, and girls are dancing. You'll find videos on this on YouTube, so that's why I'm not including those. Then we have liturgical chanting. Liturgical chanting is unlike anything else you have heard, as it needs the effort of a chant leader, someone who also trains monks in Tibet. Like I just give you an example of the throat singing, and they have got these various Buddhist mantras like Namyoho Renge Kyo. So one way is that you just say Namyoho Renge Kyo. The other way to make it more effective is it Namyoho Renge Kyo. Now, this kind of a sound it sets up certain vibrations in the environment, which has got a different kind of a spiritual effect. The instruments and voices may be rhythmically independent of each other, or they may coincide and proceed together in an unstressed rhythm of equal pulses, which creates a long and whirring drone during the ensemble. It is truly compelling that and should definitely be used to help with the relaxation. Like the sound which comes out, this tuvan singing or throat singing, this does not go on limitless. It has its own boundaries, and in order to make it effective, you sing it for a couple of seconds, then you relax, some other music takes over, and then you again come back. There are certain instruments, Tibetan instruments, in which you blow into it. At the same time, you make sound also. So you see, you get a kind of a mixed sound of that instrument in which you are blowing. It's something like shehnai, but of course the notes are slightly on the lower side, and constant human voice which also comes out along with this. So it's a difficult instrument and not very easy to play. Then you have antiphonal overlapping singing. So this recognizable to the Western world as it's basically a harmony played out in a choral fashion, like in a chorus with 2 or more people, and it can be compared to an a cappella band. A cappella bands are in vogue in the world. In this kind of a band, there is no musical instrument. It is a human, like a group of males and female voices. They make sounds which takes care of rhythm, background, harmony, melody, contra melody, and things like that. So it's the complete band is there, which consists of sounds which are coming out at various octaves, and not a single instrument is used. So it is labeled as antiphonal overlapping singing. It sounds very melodic and can be enjoyed and remembered by those that listen, therefore being more accessible for onlookers to join in. You are not really carrying any instrument in your hand. You are standing and then you are singing in a particular fashion. So a cappella, again, you can, if you want to go a little deeper into it, I recommend that you go to YouTube and see for yourself what is a cappella. This is another famous instrument, very, very long, and people have to hold it. Otherwise, you cannot hold with your, even with your both hands. Owing to the gravity, it will simply fall down. So this is also called, didgeridoo. And I have been a part of a Delhi drum circle for many, many years, where I found there were certain, youngsters, they used to bring didgeridoo, and it produces a kind of a monotone but with certain harmonics. So it has its own sound plus the sound which is coming out from your stomach. This is a very, very peculiar kind of an instrument. Then of course comes the next category, that is mystery dance. It's most active and accompanied by dancing and eccentric movement. And generally this is performed during the New Year festivals in February and March, when Tibet becomes united to see out the old year and welcome the new year. And this mystery dance and rapid fire beats are designed to identify and scare away the old year's demons. And this is how they welcome New Year. They wear masks, vividly colored masks, and then they dance. There are beautiful videos available on YouTube about how Tibetan New Year is celebrated. Then we have Tibetan folk. So this is the last type of out of the 5 different types. This is the last one. It's very much like modern of the styles, but the lyrics focus mainly on Tibetan everyday life. So this truly reflects their culture. And it's common to hear songs of agriculture, love, friendship, and basically common walks of life, where they want to express. In Tibetan folk, the songs are played in band form with the chorus and various verses. And a very beautifully choreographed dances which they carry out while they are doing folk songs. I am now going to show you a very, very interesting video. There is a gentleman from Mongolia. His name is Badzorik Wanching. And this guy is an international artist. He's a sensation in throat singing. And there's a small video which I grabbed on internet. So he's singing, in praise of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, everyone knows. I don't have to, get into historical details of Genghis Khan. So you just hear this, kind of singing, throat singing, which he does. So you must have realized one thing, that this kind of singing, the Tibetan music, is totally different, and even taking out this kind of a sound needs a lot of efforts, a lot of practice, and there are institutions outside in the foreign countries, not here, where throat singing is formally taught. In Ladakh, I have seen common people, trying this throat singing. That's how I got motivated, and I started practicing throat singing. And it really fills you with a different kind of a feeling. And you can't really draw a comparison between this kind of a singing and traditional singing. And with this kind of an inspiration in Tibetan music, and of course my background as a jazz musician, I tried out certain experiments there only while I was posted, and started recording small pieces, which formally I processed when I got superannuated in 2017. And so sitting here in Ambala in my own studio, I have always plenty of time with me to basically translate all these things, in the musical language, and give it some kind of a shape. So I'm just sharing, my own experiments and Tibetan music by way of, doing some kind of fusion, in which I'm trying to play typical Tibetan music, but it is heavily layered with jazz, various instruments. So the first one, of course, I've done a lot many, but I thought I would, share one of my own and very, very dear composition, Ode to Karma. In Buddhism, everything is about karma. So enjoy this piece. I'm sure you enjoyed this kind of music because it has elements of jazz and the Tibetan music.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Thank you. Uh, another piece which I would like to share with you is slightly different. Of course, everything is revolving around jazz music. This I have named as a Buddha in Recluse. And I actually composed it just before the pandemic. And I was all set to release my album on a Tibetan jazz fusion. Talks were already on at Dharamshala as well as Leh to release it formally. But unfortunately, pandemic hit us very badly. But I'm sure in near future, I'll be able to, do this. And I would love to, do a world release of these set of songs. And in them, Buddha in Recluse is also very, very dear to me. This particular composition which I made just prior to the pandemic. So please enjoy this small piece of music. So, how do you like this music?
This too was also good.
So, there were two different things altogether. And this had more of that string portion played on the Ranin, it's kind of a guitar. And I derive a lot of pleasure, trying out these combinations of traditional Tibetan music and doing fusion with jazz music. And I'll be very happy, if I can answer any one of your questions pertaining to this particular style. So I'm here to basically, if you have any queries.
No queries from my side. I understood everything. Thanks, uh, Colonel, for a nice evening of Tibetan music.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you very much.